Alright, so now that we put it at the bottom, this is it, the new blue Titler X, and that's prearranged for you. And on the Titler X, I made it look like a searchlight searching across the Hardy Boys text. Now, as you can see, if I pause it, I'm sorry, clicked the wrong button. If I pause it, it says the Hardy Boys A Walk Through Time, and that's without the carrots, because that just shows that the carrots just show we're showing the text. So now after that, the last part of the introduction, it says America's favorite detective duo, blah 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 blah. That is going to be on here under introduction. As you can see here, it says introduction, which I think, let's see. Yeah, so that says introduction. So you're just going to click that and drag it down here. So once you drag that down, we're going to get this little introduction. And if we click on it, it's going to say
America's favorite detective
duo, which is America's favorite detective duo. So we know that that is that, and that it was named right. So that's just something to double check. Make sure that the picture that says introduction, or the video, whatever, says America's favorite detective duo, or for the Jerusalem Mill video, something a little different. So then once that
America's
ends,
favorite detective duo, Frank and Joe Hardy in The Hardy Boys. Join myself, Brad Enzer, in this documentary of The Hardy Boys, A Walk Through Time.
and then it ends. And that's all part of the introduction. And when the next chapter marker comes up, that's the history part. Just fill it in right after the last video, in the last part. Okay? So I'm not going to show you everything because it will be time consuming, but I'll show you the first one. So first, before we start anything, we're going to need to put the narration down. And again, it goes right in the voice. You can't put it anywhere else. Alright, so we have the narration. We're just going to fill that in right after the sound, or the introduction. So there's a brief pause,
Boys, A Walk Through Time.
and then this is going to start
Frank
up.
and Joe Hardy are fictional characters that
Okay? So, what we're going to do is we're going to take this long line, and we're going to click play.
Frank and Joe Hardy are fictional characters that appear in the well-known mystery series for juveniles, The Hardy Boys. Edward.
And then, as you can see, if you go to the script, it says Frank and Joe, and it ends with The Hardy Boys. So that's when we want to pause it. So that's where it ended, with The Hardy Boys. So we're just going to pause it there. And then we're going to look for the picture that says Book 1, The Tower Treasure, which I'm going to go ahead and get it real quick from the import media, because I don't know where it went. That's not it. Here we go, Hardy Boys. Here it is, Book 1. Open it up. And it shows Book 1. So now we're going to take Book 1, and we're going to put it right after that video. And we're just going to expand it to the end where it shows that line. And it's going to show that picture the whole time.
Frank and Joe Hardy are fictional characters that appear in the well-known mystery series for juveniles, The Hardy Boys.
And then it ends right there. Now, we're going to take the next one, and it says Edward Stratemeyer, and it ends with The Hardy Boys again. Where I'm looking, if you follow my arrow from right here, Edward Stratemeyer, blah 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 blah, and it ends with Among his books were the Hardy Boys. So once we hear among his books were the Hardy Boys, we're going to pause it again. Edward Streetmeyer was one of the most prolific writers of his day. He produced over 1,300 books himself and sold over 500 million copies. Among his books were the Hardy Boys. And then we're going to pause it. And it says Edward Streetmeyer, black and white picture. And we're going to find it. Edward Streetmeyer. And it will say Edward Streetmeyer, black and white picture. And we're going to move it down, put it right next to that, and move it over. And then for the next one, it says other well-known fictional book series for juveniles, and then ends with the Bobbsey Twins starting in 1904. So we're going to wait until we hear the Bobbsey Twins starting in. Other well-known fictional book series for juveniles by Streetmeyer include the Bobbsey Twins, starting in 1904. Pause it, and then as we can see, in red it says the Bobbsey Twins book cover. We're going to go over here and we're going to look for the title or the name, the Bobbsey Twins book cover, which is, if we look,